thought I will take one of the first instrument I made, this one with Fred Morgan. I still have it. It's a Ganassi G alto.
That's your very first instrument you made?
Yeah, it's still playing very, very well. And you don't have these half tones. And I think when you want to play modern music or with modern instruments, it's really practical when you have everything. That's why I developed the Igor Ganassi, what I call it now. And then you have the Ganassi sound, but with 2 keys, and then you can.
And what kind of music would you play on these?
Oh, yeah, everything. When composers hear this sound, they are usually totally impressed. Like Giel Meijering, he wrote 50 concertos for strings and eagle.
50?
50, yeah. Yeah, and then Don Lorraine made a CD with that, beautiful. He recorded 1 hour of these 50 concerti. In fact, I want to have the recorder sound, what you have from Baroque instruments and Renaissance instruments. I love this sound, this really recorder sound. To put it in this time, so that you can use it in this century with modern instruments.
Another recorder out. I actually play recorder in my band Jaboa. We play rock, like rock with a bit of jazz and weird experimental stuff. I use this recorder, which is my Eagle Alto, because it's so loud it can stand up against the guitar and drums, amplified of course.
I try to adjust the instrument to the player. Also, I'm looking then at what breathing type he or she is, whether he is an inhaler or an exhaler, and how much speed he puts behind the sound, as I did for your instrument. Then you need an instrument which resonates by itself, which takes the air really freely, and also the finger holes, that they are more in one line, that you play like this, more straight. Yeah, I saw you on the clip, I thought, she's really small. I have to make it. I have to make these holes also. This part I made a bit thinner, so the holes got smaller, and I made them a bit square. So now, and Sarah came this morning, and I was so happy because she started playing tuk, and the fingers fall exactly where they had to be.
It's amazing. How did you become a recorder builder?
I was 19 or 20. I studied in The Hague, and then Fred Morgan came to Europe to measure all the instruments in museums. And then he started also a workshop in the conservatory in The Hague, because he wanted to have better recorder makers in the world, because at that moment he had a waiting list of 10 years, and he said, I will help other makers to learn to make recorders. Wow. And I was in that group 40 years ago, something like that. I set up my own workshop, and I started making all these Baroque copies, like many people still do. But after some 20 years I got bored with that, and then I started to make all the Renaissance instruments, all the concerts, because I like this sound, the more the fundamentals and this richer sound.
Which is a sub-contrabass recorder in B-flat. There are 3 in the world. They're made to order by the Dutch maker Adriana Breukink. It's used in the Royal Wind music.
Yes, it's literally a whole tree, and it's also, it's so unique because there are only 3 in the world, and all the work behind it, I really think it's worth it.
This beautiful Renaissance bass was built by Adriana Breukink, recorder builder, and this is part of the consort owned by Block 4. As you can see, the holes are pretty far apart, and we only have one key down there on the bottom. Are you ready for this? This is an F contrabass recorder, also by Adriana Breukink. It's 191 centimeters tall. It has a crook coming from the top of the recorder, and the stretch for my right hand is this.
Juho is playing on my concert instruments by Bob Marley, and I'm playing on my husband's Adriana Breukink set.
I have.
Ooh, could you please show us your favourite instrument?
I have to say this beast is doing it for me at the moment. So this is the Eagle recorder.
Okay, we've not had any eagles yet
No.
on Team Recorder.
So I'm developing a program called Flight of the Eagle at the moment. You can see that.
Okay.
It's the same size. I mean, this is still a recorder in F.
Wow.
In fact, the interesting thing to look at the bore. This has a colossal bore, more like a Renaissance instrument.
And then what is this instrument?
So this is a kind of it's a tenor recorder made by Adriana Breukink, but as you can see, it looks a bit like two recorders, and it kind of is.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do that thing where you're trying to improve the tone of your recorder, and you get a little bit of sandpaper onto the block and try and make it sound better.
I haven't dared to do that. No. I'll be honest.
I've done that a few times, and unfortunately, sometimes head joints end up in the bin. And the black one that originally went with this middle joint was firewood.
That is literally every recorder player's worst nightmare.
This is a really lovely, lovely tenor. It's a lovely, lovely rich bottom note.
This is one of the Mollenhauer, the Adriana Breukink dream flutes, and I think they're great. I make sure that all of my students have these ones when they're first starting out. They have a pear wood underjoint and plastic top joint, which means you can wash this part, and this part still sounds really nice. I love it because it sounds really nice, and it's also very easy to feel the holes. This is another Mollenhauer Adri's dream flute. It's the same model as this, but just all in wood. Part of the Siciliana from Bach's E-flat Flute Sonata No. 2, but upside down and back to front.
You could reflect what's really possible and what could help the recorder to another level, so that you have an extra dimension. My dream is still that when a composer is writing a new opera or a new symphony, that they put a recorder player near the flutes and the oboes, and then this beautiful, clear sound with fundamentals like a Renaissance instrument.